Okay, so
what were we gonna say about Bryce?
listen, like just so you guys know, Tony, Zach, I don't know if you know, but Anthony Serino came and did a YouTube session here.
I was just gonna ask about that before, and we got off another topic, and I forgot to. When we were talking about lives, I was gonna say you started doing YouTube now too, right?
Yeah, I mean everybody's on YouTube.
Were you doing any of it before?
I was just repurposing the short form content, but no long form content at all.
Got it. And you just shot your first one?
Yeah, here.
Is it out yet?
Right in the studio. No, I mean, is it out yet?
It looks hot. No, it's not out yet. Yeah. We're ready to drop it.
It's on screen over
But
there.
like one of the really great ones was like it was like 3 common money blocks, and you brought the stacks.
Let's talk about it. What are the 3 common blocks?
So
Block
the first
1, 2, and 3, right here.
Most people believe money's hard to come by, right? They looked at that, and I told them you could go get that this month. They'd be like, I can't.
Of course you can.
Yeah,
it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So abundant.
Yeah. What does Grant Cardone say? We don't make the money; the government makes the money.
Oh, bro, don't get me started.
Go, Zach.
Let's go to the next topic before I lose my mind.
Let's go.
Wait,
Zach.
hold on. Do we have?
Bro,
we get
Google
triggered
right now. Yeah. Google right now, Bryce. Google right now. How much money is printed every day?
No,
Google
it. Don't do it.
Shut up.
Zach, guess first.
How much money?
Guess.
It can't be
$35 million a day.
Okay,
Printed.
Tony, guess.
40 million.
Anthony,
I don't know. $1 billion.
you guys
in
are
the
dead
U.S.
nuts.
Federal Reserve, not in total. How much money does the U.S. Federal Reserve print
day?
per day? Per day. And then we're going to go off on some other.
I'd say hundreds of millions at least. I would say.
All right, I'm switching one.
500 million in currency a day.
Wow.
500 million?
180 billion per year. Sorry, I thought it was on
They
screen.
print $500 million a day in just America. And you think it's hard to come by.
I love this. I love this.
It's true.
Bro,
This'll
what?
change your
And that's
belief
just what they print. That's just what they print. That's not all the money. That's just
It's already there.
digits or just
I
already there.
honestly used to believe money was really hard to come by. And then I realized, like, there's so much money.
Yo, but then even more.
Did you grow up with money?
I grew up good, but like I always kind of like had my own spending money.
Yeah.
I like sold weed and like whatever I could do to always have some money in my pocket.
Hustler.
But like, yeah, I used to think like $100,000 was like, whoa, holy shit, 100K. Like, only 1% of the world makes that. And then I realized, like, well, actually, 10% of the world's driving around in fucking Lamborghinis doing whatever the fuck they want all the time. Dude, your cursing thing didn't work.
Yeah, Zach, can you do like a
You
quick,
don't want to stop cursing.
the 40-second breakdown of fractional reserve banking?
Yes, fractional reserve banking is America's banking system.
How does it work?
And I know, hold up, I'm getting there. It's America's banking system. And what fractional reserve banking means is that if you
Tony gives you $50,000.
If I have, we're going to say this is 10 because I can't do that good at math. If this is $10,000 that the bank has. If this is Chase Bank, they have $10,000 in their account. They are able to loan out up to $100,000. So the Federal Reserve number in in America is about 10%. So the bank needs to have 10% of money in cash in their account, and they can loan out the other 90%. So basically what that means is every bank in America, 90% of the money is non-existent. It literally is debt digits in an account that they just loan out for nothing. And when you get into these big banks and these big institutions, it could be like 1%. So you can have a bank that has $1 million and they can loan out $1 billion. And it's just like totally normal, or sorry, whatever that number is. No, that'd be 10%. It'd be 100 million. We both were wrong, but $100 million, and you can loan it out, and it's all made up. Literally, 99 million of it is a digit, a currency that does not exist, that is not backed by gold, that is not even backed by a piece of paper. It's backed by literally non-existent nothingness, nada, zip, nothing. Doesn't exist.
So what does that mean for people who have difficulty making money?
It's fake. You could just go and it's everywhere. It's when you know what f***ed me up one day? I was like 17. I remember it vividly. I was like 17 years old, and we were going from the airport. We were going from my grandma's house in Palm Beach down to Fort Lauderdale, and we drove down A1A the whole time. And we drove down A1A, and every house you drive by is $20 million or more. And it was an hour-long drive. And on both sides, every house is $20 million. And I'm like, yo, we just drove past $1 trillion in real estate. And somebody owns every single one of those properties. Somebody lives in them. They're not fucking vacant. So like it's everywhere. It's just it's the easiest thing in the world. It's made every day. Everyone has it. Everyone wants it. It's how it runs our world. And
At that young age, were you able to conceptualize that you deserve that too, Zach?
well, I think deserve is a
Or we're capable?
unique word,
We're
but
capable?
yeah, I think I was capable of it. Yeah. I just thought like, why them and not me? What do they have that I don't? Or what do
When did like making money? Did you ever feel easy for like when did it start feeling easy where like you'd have to really try hard not to make money? Because I feel like I've gotten to that point recently where like it would be really hard for me not to make money.
I wouldn't say it would be hard
Like I would have to be like totally like
not working at all.
just I'd literally have to be sitting. Even then, I have things set up now where, of course, passively that I'd make some money. But
Yeah, that's
like
true.
3 years ago, probably
So-
3 years ago, maybe even longer.
was there anything that clicked for you that was like, okay, I get it. I get the whole money.
Yeah,
thing
it's
now.
just an exchange of value. As long as you have something that's valuable to give to the world, and it could be your own, it could be words, bro.
Yeah.
You basically sell your words.
100%.
That's all you do.
And your time, right?
But
You-
the
But
value
it's
is
really,
the value
but
is
the
the word,
more
yeah.
exactly, the more valuable he becomes, the more meaning his words have, the more dollars he can charge for a 30-second snippet of him telling you how to be hypnotized.
Yeah,
It's literally just a value of your words that determine the amount of money
I feel
you
like
can
a
make.
lot of people need to understand though. It's a lot of it is positioning too. Like I don't work harder than I used to, right? I used to work super hard, 65 hours a week, standing all week at a fucking computer like this, working like till my brain would fall out at the end of the day.
But that
Well,
was
really-
hard for you. That was a perception of being hard. Someone would see what you're doing now and say that's hard.
But there's also rules to
right,
money
but
too.
it's not. It's yeah. I guess you're right about that. But all I've done is position myself. I went to a place where money flows easily, and then I just.
But you're on
started
you're
working
doing this
there.
podcast right now, and like there's some people out there that couldn't even fathom doing what you're doing right now. Like they'd be like, "That's so difficult. How do they get on and talk?" It like what you're doing right now feels easy because you've become that type of person, Where someone else, they would look at this and be like, "This is the hardest thing ever. How do they get up there and talk and put themselves out there?"
I'm here
Well,
to
that
tell
goes
you
back to
it's
what we were
easy.
talking about before.
I just show up and say shit.
So you saying this,
Yeah, but
saying
that-
it's easy is like telling a person who's afraid to fly that, oh, it's the safest thing to do. No, don't worry about it. Right? They consciously know it. They can kind of conceptualize it, but they're like, something doesn't feel right.
So how do you truly communicate that it is easy?
You need to
Hypnotize.
you
them.
need to hypnotize them.
So it's changing their belief system.
Exactly.
What does the 1%
Change your
believe?
belief system
What
around
did
money.
they believe, and what's discussed amongst you and your clients of the 1%? Like that it's so easy. Like talk about that.
I mean, working with like literally the top 1% of people making over $10 million a year, some of these clients that I have, and it is just that the money is easy to come by. Money's everywhere. That's not even money's the easiest part of business for these people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that, like when I started getting into the real estate game and stuff, I realized the money's the easy part. People will give you money if you have a good deal, a good value, right? And so it's finding that value proposition in your business and also being confident to sell that proposition, to sell that value, right? To be confident. Because if you're not confident in yourself, if you have low self-worth, low value in yourself, no one's going to value you or what you're selling to them. So too many people got shitty.
Where do you
belief
think
systems.
these poor belief systems are programmed initially? Why do so many people have a poor mindset? Where do you think it's coming from?
I mean, 99% of it is from when we were kids. Like my mom was a single mom for a long time. My parents got divorced when I was 2, never met my real dad. My mom was working 3 jobs, right? She was working 3 jobs, and I always looked at her as one of the hardest working people I ever knew, and we still could barely afford food. We still were on food stamps.
Damn.
So my little kid brain was programmed to believe, you know what, you have to work hard and you get nothing for it. You still can't afford to put food on your table, but you got to work hard because you saw your mommy do it, right? And so I had to adjust that programming because as I got older, I was hustling really hard, making no money, doing 3 things at once, just like my mother working 3 jobs. And it wasn't until I became aware of these subconscious modalities and things that I was able to actually go in and like pluck that out of my mind.
Yo, belief system people all need to understand while we're on that point is hard work does not equal you get rich.
Yeah, no.
So many people
No,
work hard
not at
and do
all.
not get money.
The hardest I ever worked was the brokest I ever
And same the other way around though.
Yeah.
You can get rich without really working that hard.
Yeah.
You don't do any it's not that much harder.
Yeah.
It's really not.
I think some of our parents, I think a large majority of our parents came here as immigrants,
Correct.
and it's just like trying to make it and then like making a
passed along their belief systems.
Yeah, that's all.
That's a good point.
That's all it is.
I think it's really
passed along
interesting that
belief
you said the
systems.
single parent household thing. That's very interesting. We always reach that as a major issue for like so many issues stem from that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, because everything's amplified because now you're focused on one parent and the
Right, it just
responsibility.
makes life so much harder.
Yeah. And like I was raised by and there's a lot of good programming that comes out too. Like I was raised by my mom and my grandmother. And yes, I have a stepdad that I call my dad, but there's a lot of women in my life. And now I've learned to, respect women in a different way and lean on them in ways that some guys don't, right? Because I was always around my mom and my grandmother, So sometimes the bad things also produce good programming.
What do you think would have been different
absolutely.
in your life if you had your father from a young age?
It's hard to say. I mean, that's like trying to describe a color I've never seen before,
It's a good answer.
Bar.
That's a really good answer. I was so curious to what you were going to answer, and it was not that, and that was fire.
So can you tell us about the color blurple?
Wow.
So Tony, you're the only one. Actually, I'm sorry, Sean and Tony are the only ones with children here. I think you don't have any kids, do you?
No kids.
Okay, so
so
like Tony, like I know that you and your wife are very aligned, but like and like correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody here except Sean grew up in a household without. Oh no, well Zach, your parents split later on, but like parents split early, parents split medium early.
Yeah, I was like 14.
So like being a new father, like how valuable do you see the fatherhood role in the household, and what would you do to always keep it in your daughter's life?
Everything. We're not leaving. I made a covenant with Michaela that we're staying together for Gianna, no matter what our differences are. If we have to live in the same house with 2 different bedrooms, we're doing that for her. We made a decision and we're going to stick by it. And we promise each other that. And we do a lot of work to keep each other together. And I don't know if you want to go down this rabbit hole, but it's a lot of the reason why we go,
Go for it.
we do the things that we do, like our new appreciation for the church. We did a lot of research and found that couples that pray together stay together. So that's what we do. I think it's like 98% of couples that go to church together and pray
Is that
together.
why you're convicted to not curse anymore?
Yeah, it's a big part of it.
Is church?
Yeah.
Yeah, being
Yeah,
a
you're not
Christian.
supposed to curse.
Yeah.
How could you worship God with the same mouth that you curse from?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from there, Tony, either maybe you can talk about why you think the father is so strong and what the results are of not having father in the home, or Anthony, it'd be cool to hear like how your certain clients that do have a strong belief in faith apply to like what you practice.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I'll say is like, in all due respect, I disagree with the fact that people should stay together if like there's a lot of friction in the household, only because, and listen, I'm a Christian. I don't believe in divorce unless there's, adultery or someone abused or abandoned somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say from a non-Christian perspective, like whatever, societal perspective, conditioning. I think if you have 2 parents who are at conflict constantly, and even if you're separate, but like together, like you were mentioning, like 2 different rooms, like what kind of perspective is that giving the kid about relationships?
Well, as a good Christian, I wouldn't disrespect her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
No, it's not about
There
disrespect,
wouldn't be
but
conflict.
I'm saying if they saw you separate, like what would they learn about relationships, seeing that you guys are now,
we won't allow it. We'll work through it.
I mean, listen, I had a degree of that.
But
it
you're
wasn't
right.
like
You did just call me out. I said we would do separate rooms. We wouldn't do that. We would work through it.
Yeah.
We made a covenant with ourselves and a higher power, and we're going to make it work.
Yeah.
Whatever the work is,
Yeah.
we have to do it. And that's a decision we made because I believe that bringing a kid into the world is not something you take lightly,
No.
like so many people do nowadays.
Even commitment, not even just bringing the kid. That's a huge kid, but committing to someone, a wife, or like I think we may have talked about this last time I was on, but there's freedom in commitment, and I had to learn that, right? Like we think all being single or whatnot. There's freedom in commitment. You get to say no to everything,
Yeah.
So
It's so true, bro.
I'm not
'Cause it
worried about what I
sounds-
look like for the girls
It
when I go out.
sounds so wrong.
Yeah.
There's freedom in commitment. Well, you've committed to something, but you're right. It gives you so much freedom. It detaches you from so many things.
Yeah. There's freedom and focus too. Like commitment, focus is kind of synonymous. Like in business, I was always trying to chase 3 different things. Everybody wants 7 streams of income. That's cool when you've made it, when you've made some money. But like at first, focus. Like that's it. Focus on one specific thing, one path.
90% of millionaires make money in one thing, and then they go make millions in other things
Yeah.
after they have the
Exactly.
million.
Exactly.
It's so true.
And I don't even think it's because they have the money. I think it's because they've perfected and developed their belief system that money is easy to come by.
And their skill sets so that now they can go multiply it in other avenues and it's easier and you have connections and relationships and you have also the money now.
Yeah.
Once you have the million, it's pretty easy to go make another million, you know? At least that's my belief.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just a belief system. Maybe I just believe it.
But that's easier to make money when you have money?
Yep.
Oh, 100% is.
Yeah.
Because now you can pay for it, you can delegate, you can outsource.
And you could take chances.
Listen, and this is maybe something we talk about, like a lot of people say money is evil, especially in the Christian community and things like that. Money's not evil. Money's a tool. It's an exchange of value.
I believe money is energy.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a strong form of energy that you can attract. You can also repel.
Yep.
You can also, what's the word? Not like give it. You can transfer it and garnish more energy from it. But I just believe money is energy. And the more energy you have around making money, the more money you make.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Money
And
is
it
not
multiplies and it compounds on itself, you know?
We just at the Andy Elliott event that I just went to, he had a speaker, Michael Keaton, who is an extremely powerful speaker, and he's a Christian man, and he said something really cool that really made me think. He's like, "Do you think God wants you to be broke? God doesn't want you to be broke. He wants you to be rich. He wants you to have everything." Like, why do we say money is evil? I mean, people do a lot of evil things to obtain it.
It's the same thing why we say religion is evil, is because some religion has caused wars and it creates certain things because people feel so strongly about it.
It's worse too.
So money causes money, bro. Money is also a root of almost all problems in the world. Money is also the root of
It's
almost
at the
every
root of
problem
all
in the world.
solutions too.
Correct.
Yeah. Well,
so
who's at the root of the money? It's the people, us.
Correct.
Right? We're the problem.
we're the real problem. Yeah. This is just the
Yeah.
vehicle that it's in.
Yeah.
But
It amplifies, right? It amplifies if you're good.
Correct.
Amplifies if you're bad.
correct.
Now, if you're always chasing, like money is like, I go back and forth on this. I don't think money's like I could go to zero tomorrow and I'd be at peace.
Yeah,
because-
once you have it, then when you don't have it, you can't have that belief.
Yeah.
Once you get the money, you realize
Yeah.
now you can have that belief, and that's also freeing to allow you to go make more money.
Exactly.
Because you've disassociated your success from the money.
Yep.
All right, wait. What was number one again? The block.
Money block number one most common is that money's hard to come by.
Yep.
We were told things like money doesn't grow on trees, sort of thing. You know?
What's number two?
What was number two, Sean? Do we remember what?
Was it family? Like family values as a child?
Oh, number two is you believe that money's bad, right? We just kind of talked about this.
Oh, okay.
If you believe money's evil, or maybe let's say you were a little kid and you're driving the car with your dad and you saw someone drive up in a Lamborghini and your dad was like, they're so pretentious. Like no one needs to drive that nice of a car. They're selfish. They should be donating their money. Well, then you learned that having money is bad. And even worse, having money makes you a bad person. So now consciously you try to make millions of dollars when you get older, but now your brain is like, nope.
Don't you think that's portrayed so much today too? Like people that I think even more today, it's bad to be successful.
I think the initial reaction from like the public facing response is yes, but when I do a lot of money transparency posts and things, I talk about what I make, I talk about the nice things I have and things, and it inspires most people. Like the people that are actually reaching out to me and talk to like, dude, thank you. You know what I mean? Like it's lifting them up. So I think the haters are always going to hate, you know what I mean? They're always going to be talking crap. So,
But I just think back in the day, it was a lot of people's dreams to go and be the rich person and have a Lamborghini. And I don't think that's as many people's dreams anymore. I think a lot of people don't like it.
well, I think people
They're
are
frowned
I actually think that there's almost like a spiritual reason behind that. And I mean, in the sense that I think people are coming to like, we strive for all these material things and money. And we realize that we're only wanting that money for the feeling it gets us really. And then we realize like, oh, that feeling actually comes within and we don't need the money. So now we got, why chase it? You know? So, and that's not, once again, it's not to say that money's not important, but well, like I said, I could go to zero tomorrow and I would be at peace. Like I would still.
It's weird. I feel that too. Now that I've had like a taste of it, if I was broke, I'd be fine. I can find happiness.
But that's also one of the positive programs, like me growing up broke for the most part with my mom. And then, you know, she had some success when she met my stepdad and he was an attorney and she did real estate before 2008 and things like that, made some money. But it also taught me how to do more with less.
But are you scared to be broke or are you not scared to be broke or go to zero? because you know you can get it back or because you don't think you need it?
I think all of it. I think too, I am so blessed with my support system, the people I know, my family. Even if I personally went to zero, I know I have the support, and I'm so fortunate for that. Like, I thank God for it. But yeah, even so, even if I didn't have that, I do know knowledge is power. Now I have the knowledge on how to make money. It would be so silly for me not to make money from zero again. Yeah.
Because I think I'm not scared to lose it all because I know I can get it back, but I'm very scared to not have money. I'm terrified to be broke. I just think that
What's the worst that could happen though?
I can't take care of the people around me that depend on me now because I have money, because I take care of them, and then I go broke, and then I can't take care of all my people, you know? So my belief around money is that it's needed to take care of people. I'm in a certain position in life where my role is to care for people, and it starts with money a lot of the times, you know? And like even my team, if I were to go broke, all the people that I work with would also have to go broke. So that's a big deal, you know?
I think this is where faith comes into though, like for people that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bible even talks about like the birds don't have to worry about what they eat, right? Like how much more important are we than the birds and the animals that God wouldn't provide for us, you know? So that's where a lot of my peace comes from, is like, you know what? God, first of all, I talk about all these subconscious modalities and things like that. I attribute all my success to I gave my life to Jesus in 2010, and that's where it starts from. These are all tools and resources that I've been blessed with. And that's why I know that if I went to zero, it would.
I heard a good saying the other day: faith equals peace, and peace equals attraction. So once you are faithful, you have peace, and once you have peace, you're able to attract the things you want.
Peace is the most important thing. Everybody's like trying to chase happiness. Screw happiness. That's always going to leave you feeling unfulfilled and unhappy, because you set these expectations of things that you think are going to make you happy, and then you don't reach it, or something happens and you go below baseline. Peace is always when you have it, you know?
Acceptance.
Okay, so we got number 2 is money is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's number 3.
I don't know. I'm bad at this. What was number 3, Sean?
Take
I'm
action.
the same way too.
Oh, most
They
people
don't
are
wanna take
afraid to
action.
take action.
Oh, okay.
People think that, yes, money's easy to come by, but they think that, it's just going to magically fall into their lap, and they're afraid to take action. And so one of the biggest money blocks is self-sabotage. And so what I always say is self-sabotage is not self-sabotage, it's self-protection. And that kind of goes back to the second money block, right?
Sounding like Mark Tassoni right now.
Yeah, bro, for real.
Throw him one of those blocks, Pook.
You were ready. Look at
I
that.
got like reflexes.
You were ready.
My wife throws like random shit at me all the time, and like just to see if I'll catch it.
Got to keep you sharp. Got to keep you ready. You know what I mean?
That funny. My wife throws diapers at my head all the time.
So, Serino, like if someone like came up to you and like they asked like quick version of like, what can I do? What can I do to take action and do this now? And you had to tell them, what would you say?
I'd first ask them to address their biggest fears.
Rewire your mind.
No, but before you rewire your mind, you have to audit yourself and be like, what am I afraid of? Why am I not taking action?
Audit.
Am I afraid to put myself out there? Am I afraid of judgment? Am I afraid of failure? Am I afraid of success? Then once you have that, you can use modalities like hypnosis and whatnot to reprogram. And there's other modalities. I just think hypnosis happens to be the fastest and most effective, but different strokes for different folks,
Can you speak on other modalities that you may recommend?
Even just the things like meditation, EMDR, there's things like called EFT tapping, traditional therapy, things plain old repetition and focus but that's the thing with things like repetition, like you guys have more what you might classify as willpower than other people, like the action taking gene sort of thing. But willpower is a myth. Like willpower is the biggest myth sold in the personal development world.
Unpack that one.
Yeah. So you don't need willpower to scroll through TikTok, right? You don't need willpower to eat the second piece of cake. You don't need willpower to sleep in. Why do you need willpower for the good things if you don't need it for the bad things?
Because you're already programmed to do the bad things. That's your natural. Yep. You have to be able to overcome something to get to the good thing.
Exactly. But if you can just do the bad habits easily, well, then you should be able to use that same mechanism to do the good habits easily. And that's where reprogramming comes in. Once you reprogram your mind for success in any area of your life, wealth, health, relationships, you just naturally start doing the things like without willpower. Discipline is not needed. It looks like discipline. Like David Goggins, for example. It looks like discipline. It looks like he has unlimited willpower, but that's just who he is now. Like that's his operating.
But it doesn't
system.
take any discipline to start.
Sure, that's the hard way. That's what I'm saying. You can do it that way,
Okay.
but there's an easier way by reprogramming. You know.
Tony, wake up. You got another hour and a half of this.
I was trying to say something too.
No,
Hold up.
I'm trying to.
He's thinking.
I'm trying to process all of that. That's crazy, and I'm trying to find holes in it. Like when you say that eating a piece of cake is easy, well, yeah, and people love to do it because it's immediate satisfaction or what's
Gratification.
the word? You like instant gratification when you go and eat that piece of cake, but working hard does not come with instant gratification. That's the difference between those two things.
Why? Perception.
But I think David Goggins has built up the muscle to be able to do it.
Well,
And
wait,
it's a
forget
muscle just
David
like anything
Goggins.
else.
He's a freak of nature, but like I'm talking about people who just work really hard at something.
Because they get something out of it. They are.
So you need to learn to say working. Okay, so that's falling in love with the process instead of the end result.
and the why. What there's got to be a why to what you're doing.
That is powerful when you break it down like that. I was trying to find the hole, not sleeping.
I definitely believe in rewiring the belief around that, but like I'm in good shape, but I'm not in the best shape. And that is because no matter how hard I try, but I work out constantly. I try to eat healthy all the time, but still I'm not in the best shape. Like I still want to lose 20 more pounds. Do you think that's because I just have a belief system around?
Most, I mean, look. I mean, like I said, look at me. I'm not the epitome of health. Like I have like probably 40, 50 pounds myself that I could theoretically lose, but I'm also down 80 something pounds since my highest. So like I have to see where I came from too. But that being said, if you don't have what you want right now, it's because you're not the type of person to have it. That's it. Anybody who doesn't achieve their goals is because they're not the type of person to achieve those goals. And when I say you're not the type of person, is because what I'm saying is you are just the sum total of your beliefs and your fears and all that. So there's something there underlying that's preventing you.
So it's not like a permanent, oh, you're not that person. You can't be that person. It's you're not choosing to be that person.
How much do you think is nature versus nurture? Like some people I just think genetically aren't able to
Oh, of course.
do certain things. Yeah.
Are you saying from like a physical perspective?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Physical,
Like,
definitely.
yeah.
Mental, I think we're so much more capable than
We think
ourselves with credit.
even mentally.
100%. Obviously, some people are going to have baseline intelligence and things that they're capable of than other people, but most people. I hate to keep bringing up David Goggins because I think he's kind of a toxic end of the spectrum. I think it's an unrealistic thing for people to shoot for, but I think it's good because it's so unrealistic at the far end of the spectrum that people could try for that. They're never going to get there. But if they give a little bit, at least it gets them out of the victim mentality.
No, but it's an example of how far you can take it.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of pain in that man. I don't even know if we talked about this last time. I see a lot of pain when I look at that guy.
I think we talked about it all
He talks about his pain.
stuff. I mean, he's got some demons. He's got some demons. But have you ever read his book? What's his?
Can't Hurt Me?
Yeah, It Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah. I honestly feel bad for
that's
him,
like a
but
yeah.
it's,
He's got a deep level of unbelief. That guy's.
It takes a little bit of
I can't even use
crazy
words
to be
I
successful
can't
in
even use
general. Like it
words.
takes a little. You gotta really be motivated by something. And it's not always the best thing to be. And listen, I got a lot of vanity still too. Like I still want to just put an order in on a G-Wagon. You think that God wants me to have a G-Wagon? I don't think so.
I do.
Did you pull up in the G-Wagon tonight?
No, it's not coming until April.
Oh, you bought one?
Yeah, I put
The
it in.
GOD.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 2024.
Let's go,
Brand
baby.
new.
God does
AMG.
want you to have that.
That's fine.
You deserve it. You give a lot of value to people. You've helped people.
I think it's
a
going to
lot.
inspire people.
Absolutely.
It's the God
Listen, I
wagon.
think what you do is a lot bigger than just like, oh, this is like a small service. Like you actually help people in a huge
Thank you,
way.
man. Appreciate
That's powerful as hell. I wish I did that. I'm
You
so
do.
grateful that I live in a well, with this podcast, I feel like maybe I've helped a few people and reached out. And like my favorite part, and I say this all the time about working at solar, is like I get to help young men make money and break the chains and get out of this rat race. That's my favorite part. I
There you
love
go.
that.
Your value is way more than solar.
And once I started doing that and seeing it as that way, then the money came. Like,
Well done.
you need a G-Wagon, kid.
Yo, I just
And
want
I knew
to.
G-Wag.
I'll show you guys.
I knew GW.
The God Wagon,
I'll show you guys
the
this.
GOD Wagon.
What are we looking at? Oh, my
my
Lord. Welcome back to the
This
Two
is when
Dudes,
we-
Three
this
Legs
is when it gets
podcast
fluffy,
with your host, Zach Dingy.
video.
Tony Capoletti.
Today, we sit down with Anthony Serino, who is a high performance coach and he debunked a lot of things about hypnotism. Anthony has worked with Olympic athletes, NBA
one thing he
players,
told you not to
WNBA
call it.
players, all sorts of different entrepreneurs, business owners, you name it, he's worked with them. And he's very well known on TikTok if you'd like to find him. The Anthony Serino on TikTok. We went down deep into the abyss of your thoughts and how that
This
affects your
is
world.
Easily the most profound conversation we've had on this podcast. You owe it to yourself to tune in.
It's wild that you guys went back and did this.
It was crazy, bro. The way they did it. We had every line written that they said because we had the audio, and they just did takes.
Look how bad my skin was. By the way, I cut out dairy back then. I don't do dairy anymore.
Really?
Yeah. My skin was so bad right there. That's the first time this actually has made me figure out my skin stuff.
What do you mean? Being on TV?
Being on this podcast, this right here made me figure out my skin stuff.
See, you did help somebody with the
That's
podcast.
crazy.
Seriously. 'cause
You
my
have
skin
helped
is so-
somebody with the
look at
podcast,
my
Tony.
skin
We
is
did
so-
help another
Yeah.
person.